Welcome everybody to Bugbears and Brews. My name's Brian and today we're recapping the 10th session of our Tomb of Annihilation campaign. And I'm going to drink a beer while I do it. Because it's been a while since I drank a beer while I watched or did a video. If I can even open this. Sheesh. This is a Blue Moon apricot wheat that Tim brought over from Tim that plays at the table with us. He came over yesterday. We did some Gloomhaven and brought one of these. There are a 6-pack of these, and these are absolutely delicious. Surprised me because I was just thinking they were normal Blue Moons, and then when I took a drink, it was quite a, I won't say quite a different flavor, but it's definitely a different flavor than the standard Blue Moon. And I love wheat beers, so cheers to that. I've never actually had an apricot, so I can't, compare to real apricot, but it definitely has what I believe is an apricot flavor to it. So, starting off with our session here, you guys headed into this central massive pavilion type deal. This thing had big elephant sculptures, larger than life elephant sculptures all around it. Headed in. But first you had to break down the door, and Auric went ahead and broke down the door, but when he did that, he wound up causing some structural damage and took some damage from that. Inside there was a large cistern down in the center. There was a very large statue of a warrior with its face kind of chopped off. Its head was still there, but its face was down on the ground. And then there was an urn at the warrior's feet, and then near the urn, probably like 5 feet or so away from it, there was another statue of somebody your size reaching for the urn. There was a mezzanine heading up the stairs. Forgive me there. And looking around here, did a couple things. So eventually made it to the top of the mezzanine, saw that there was an etching up there, and the etching talked about how somebody's asking for forgiveness for a situation for thinking that somebody betrayed them, and then saying that they cannot die, and then so they'll watch over this area forever. You haven't quite placed who wronged who and who's watching over and that kind of stuff there, but you guys got a little something there. The defaced statue on the back of that had "Forgive me" etched into the back of it. And then on the statue, the lifelike your size statue, had a etching that said, "Once a thief, forever a slave." Yeah. Car jumped into the cistern. Sadly, I set a really, really low perception check. I think it was like 5 or 6 or something like that, and he rolled like a 4 on it. And so he didn't realize that the cistern was only like 6 inches deep for the water. So when he dove down the 20 feet, he took some pretty bad falling damage there. Luckily, he had the smarts enough to let people know, hey, dangle down a rope, because as soon as he got down there and kind of came to and realized what was going on, there's all sorts of snakes pouring out of the sides of the cistern there. So he climbed up without any issue there. Anything else fun happened in that area? Yeah, going up to the mezzanine, you guys broke some of the stairs and caused some people to fall. Luckily, Barlow caught himself. Yeah, Barlow caught himself with a slow fall. Didn't catch anybody else. Eventually, Navarre sent his unseen servant up the stairs to get the rest of the rubbing, because when you guys got the original rubbing or sketch or whatever you want to call it of the etching that was up there, I think Carr got the original sketch. He fell down and smudged half of it on the fall, and then somebody else, Barlow, went to go check it out himself, because Barlow's the one that can read the language, and couldn't make the jump over because now part of the stairs were down, and so eventually we had unseen servant go up there. From there, went off, explored a little bit more of Nonglore. Found what looked to be a giant bird nest. Eventually, you guys determined it's an Ilbis nest. So those are those giant stork crane type creatures that you guys fought in the Eldani Basin. None were there, though. You found some goodies inside there. I don't remember what they are off the top of my head. I think the only thing I remember for sure was a scroll of protection from undead that Anthony Sai got. While that was going down, Kara was like, hey, let's take a look at this reflection pool, because there was a big statue that was tore down in the reflection pool, and you guys saw that there's all this rubble in the reflection pool, and it turned out that these are like lifelike stone birds and lizards and fish and any kind of small animal life. There's just all sorts of stone versions of them in this the bottom of this reflection pool. But Kara said, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to go ahead and go across the reflection pool as you guys are hanging out over here. He got in there and he found this other gazebo type area, but this one had walls and it had a door, and so he knocked on the door and the door actually opened up, and he found Queen Zelkor, who this place is dedicated to. Queen Zelkor doesn't seem like she's all there, though. She kept on referring to her friend, lover, boyfriend, whatever you want to call him, Thayan Taru, something along those names. I apologize, I don't remember the name right off the top of my head here, and it was a really funky name to begin with, so I'm not going to struggle with it. Kept on referring to, like, hey, he's here for you, you should make sure you're waiting for him when you do stuff. And Kara was just like, okay, going along with it, not calling her out on her crazy. She made him do a couple personal things for her, pour some wine, do the massage, that kind of crap. The thing you'd expect like a queen to do to somebody who thinks is like a servant of hers. Well, this is going on over in the other mezzanine or gazebo area. There's this little tendril snuck around and attempted to hurt the party. Did hurt the party pretty good. But this long tendril plant thing went around, didn't hit anybody on the initial hit, but then let out some spores, and Sai, I believe it was, Sai and Oric became charmed from this thing and started heading towards the root sac of this creature. I'll call it a creature. Forgive me. And that was a pretty... I threw the combat in there for something, to have some sort of dice rolling thing. Because I knew we were kind of getting pressed for time, and I knew we wouldn't really get towards the end of the, I didn't want to stop in the middle of the what might happen. So this gave us a little bit of combat, not that we weren't rolling dice, we were doing a lot of skill checks, but there wasn't, any sort of combat. And I was like, let's add a little bit of something there. When the thing hit, it hit really hard. I think it crit Oric at one point, doing like 30 some odd damage. He was down to next to nothing by the end of it. Who else got hit? I feel like somebody else got hit. Like I said, the thing didn't have a strong attack bonus to it, but when it hit really strong. But yeah, I mean, you guys took it out pretty easily. It's not hard, it wasn't a hard to hit thing. I think its AC was like 6. It was just a giant stack of hit points that was trying to turn you guys into slaves. It's a good thing that Oric didn't die to it, because that thing has some really nasty stuff if you actually die to it, because it is such a weird creature there. So it's a kind of interesting one to run, But eventually, Carr came back right as you guys were killing that thing and said, hey, we got Zelkor over here. Let's go have a chat with her. And so you guys made your way towards her. You had to break down another door, cause some more structure damage. Eventually, though, no, before you even went to Zelkor, you guys went south and checked out another statue. This one here was crumbled. And hanging around it was a couple of those Chihuahua jungle spirit guys. They were hanging out around it, and they took a shining to Oric because he was the tallest one in the group, and so he was kind of like one of their mechs for a minute. He's just kind of guiding him around and like acting like he's king of the world. And he left a little charm for Oric as he left, or as the Chihuahua left and went about his business and was done playing king of the world. From there, you guys went in, talked to talked to Zelkor. There was an Ilbis in her room now, acting more of a servant role, like how Carr was doing when he was first there. And you guys were really trying to press on what's with the urn, what's going on with the urn, because you guys really contemplated back and forth between messing with the urn and not, and eventually you guys decided not to mess with the urn. You guys kept on pressing, what's with the urn, what's with the urn, and she kept on saying, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. You keep on asking stuff you don't need to worry about, don't worry about it. And at the end, she wound up flipping out, and we stopped at what will presumably be start of combat next week. So that's where we are starting out. We're stuck in a kind of royal apartment with a crazy queen who is, I will say, Queen Zelkor. You don't know what she actually looks like. She is covered head to toe in a robe that is made of bird feathers, even like a veil and whatnot, so you can't see what the hell she looks like. She seems to be a bit crazy. She's talking about people that aren't there. She has at least one Ilbis servant. You saw evidence of there being at least 6 Ilbis altogether, so this might be a little hairy. Who knows? That'll be fun. That's assuming it breaks into combat. Like I said, that's the way it was leaning towards when we left there. Like I think I told everybody that we'll pick up with combat. I'm not saying for sure we will have the start, but that's the way the discussion was going at the end of it. That's where we're heading. So I'm gonna go ahead and drink the rest of this delicious beer. I'm probably gonna go play a solo scenario of Gloomhaven because that game rocks. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.